All right, so the Browns play the Lions this week, and the biggest question that I have gotten is, have the Browns somehow turned a team or turned a game against a team that is currently winless into a must-win game? And I'm here to tell you, this isn't a must-win game. This is a better win game. Now, are the Browns going to get the job done? Or are they going to get in their way like they have the entire year? Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to break down the matchups. Before I do, I want to make sure I give a shout out to the patreon.com dog check tier members. And I'm going to start with Michael Matique, Cam Vex, Jaleel Salim Jr. and Sr., Caleb Pickering, Benjamin Woods, Michael Terry, Sam28, Wani Boy, Rob Morehouse, Tyler Chiz, Michael Morales, Mark Kahn, Max Haymaker, Nick Merrick, D.A.J., Joe Hart, Gabriel Wilson, Fred Pat III, David Valtiar, Relentless Buck, Rex Kaufman, Kevin Johnson, Cleveland Cart, Matt H., Sign Sheets, Gemini, Leon Freeman, Fight 3074, Chunt, Yo-Yo, Matt Lloyd, Paul Wilcox, Hondo Magnifico, Cal Stoffer, Lukey from Munich, Dave Roth, J Guy 101, Musty Taco, Brad Cowbo, Dylan W, James McGinley, Arendal, Chad Gimme, David Maldonado, Josh Spindor, Austin Rich, Mark M, Stuart Moore, Dylan Hill, Cleveland BCI, Robert Germain, Dave Mike May, Andrew Hirsch, Curtis Bear, Batman, Barack Kumar, John Albert, Beerman 069, Masayua, Butts Roland, Mac House, Reeve Hertz, Philip Wilcoxon, Marie Vivert, Sean Barron, Goggles Pisano, Dom Gazzulo, Nick Nasty, Ian Whitaker, Colin 216, Christian, Dave Strong, Michael Stone, Soul Train, Billy, Moose Gentry, Austin Z, Mark Burnett II, Andre Griffin, Otis Wolf, Dog Pound Kai, Greg Ehlers, Austin Bolin, Lydia Mahawk, Alexander Davis, Chris Falms, Picktown Browns backer, Max Nilakenko, Max Al Dojo, and Water Bear Marketing. Again, guys, thank you so much for the support. It means a ton to me that you guys support me on Patreon and various other platforms. Again, guys, thank you so much. Now let's get into this breakdown. Like I said, this is not a must-win game for the Cleveland Browns. This is a better win game. And what better win means is that you better win, and, it's probably not going to be just, hey, you won one. Like, it's going to be probably should win by a healthy margin. This should feel like the game is never in jeopardy at any point. This is not a game that you want to win in overtime or escape with. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean you underestimate the Lions. The Lions are perfectly capable of beating you by virtue of being an NFL team, but considering that the Browns are a team that still sees themselves as a playoff contender at the very least, this is one of them games you better win. So, you're going to win this one, and even if you win it by a large margin, you ain't going to get that much credit. That's what this week is about, just doing what you got to do. Now, let's talk about the first matchup that I'm going to focus in on. That's this Browns defense versus this Lions offense. Now, when it comes to the Lions offense, I think they have two good players. I think their backup running back, I believe he's 35. He has a very hard to pronounce last name. And then DeAndre Swift. Those two, specifically DeAndre Swift, who I think is a really good player. He reminds me a lot of when Devonta Freeman was in Atlanta a few years ago, and when he was like one of the better running backs in the league. That's really what DeAndre Swift reminds me of. Short field acceleration, that quick burst, the strong legs, the strength. For a guy that has his skill set, he's a good running back. I like DeAndre Swift. But that's really the only thing they got. They like to run him on the same side as they have Panay, and Panay's been playing much better as of late. Jared Goff is Jared Goff. And what do I mean by Jared Goff is Jared Goff? He does not look accurate, like either downfield or not downfield. He just doesn't look accurate. He's not mobile in the pocket. And he doesn't appear to see the field very well. This is not a team that should dominate the Cleveland Browns on third down. If what happened to this defense against Mac Jones happens against Jared Goff, and when I say happens, I mean like on a routine basis, I don't know how many first downs that New England got, but if it's a comparable number to New England, and there is not like a mass exodus of injuries or players not playing, that's almost a fireable offense for everybody on the defense, not just Joe Woods. Like everybody should get fired if Jared Goff dominates you on third down. And I'm not saying this as the meme, oh, Jared Goff's not good, LOL, but I've never really watched him play. I have watched 3 Lions games. I watched the all 22 of their game last week. He's not good. He's not very good at all. He is not somebody who should get a ton of third downs. He's not somebody, if you force him to third and long, you should be concerned about him making some kind of throw. Like, he's just not that guy. And if the Browns make him look like that guy, quite frankly, that's just, I don't know what to do with that, right? Like, if it's DeAndre Swift that kills you, I can live with DeAndre Swift killing you because I think DeAndre Swift's a really good football player. But Jared Goff, man, they ain't there. And I'm somebody who thought Jared Goff would be good coming out of the draft. So I'm not a Jared Goff hater by any means. I was hopeful that he would look better than he has in Detroit. But he doesn't, and he looks awful, and he should not dominate you on third down whatsoever. There's no excuse. He should not be scrambling for first downs. He should not be finding people deep down the field. Like, if they're open and Jared Goff is throwing it to him, that means you had a busted coverage if you're blowing all these third downs. Like, it says infinitely more about the lack of execution on defense than it does the skill of the offense. If Jared Goff, and Google his wide receivers, because I promise you can't name me more than 2. One, Kadero Hodge, because you know he was on the Browns, and then they got one of the St. Brown brothers. But it's not a great situation that they got there in the passing game. So theoretically, if you take the run game out of this, you go up by 14, 21 points early, there's not much they can do. Their best offense is their ability to run the ball. That's why when they have these games that they can keep real low scoring, that's the ones they stick in. But if this game gets away from them early, it will get away from them because they cannot pass the ball efficiently at all. They're just not that type of offense. Their wide receivers are not good. Their quarterback is not good. Their offensive line is better in run blocking than they are in pass blocking, and they're not great at either. And they run a very similar offense to the Browns from a schematic standpoint. I'm not trying to be mean. If there's any Lions fans here, I apologize if I'm coming off as mean or dismissive, but I have watched this team enough, the Detroit Lions, to know that this is not a good offense. This is not an offense that should threaten you. Like, if the Browns offense does that thing where they sputter out and don't score a lot of points, maybe their offense is able to get things done because DeAndre Swift and their running backs can take over the game at that point, and then you can end up in a little bit of trouble. But if the offense puts up a decent amount of points, the defense really don't have that much to worry about, because the more you force the Lions to throw, the more and more they're going to be in trouble, because that passing game, I'm telling you, is not very good. So that's kind of it, right? I mean, you're going to want to watch the matchups, right, with Miles and Jadavion. There's no reason, and this is going to be the theme throughout this whole video, and I really do apologize if I'm coming off as dismissive, but I have to be honest about what I see here and not just like try to make a case for the Lions when I don't really think there is one. The truth of this game is, if the Browns lose this game, it's because they didn't execute well, or they just came out and played some terrible football again like they did last week. I don't think that's likely, but that's the only way the Browns can lose this game is if they decide to lose this game. Like, if they want to beat themselves and do stupid stuff and have stupid penalties and keep Detroit in this game by giving them stupid penalties, like by blowing coverages, by making things easy for Jared Goff, they can lose this game. But it's their fault if they lose this game. So defensively, honestly, yes, DeAndre Swift's a good player, but I believe you have the tools to stop him. Jared Goff is Jared Goff. That passing game is awful. You clearly have the tools to stop them. It's about whether you're going to do it. And with this team this year, I don't know what the answer is to that. We're going to move on to the Browns offense matchup versus the Lions defense. I think the Lions have a solid defensive line. I think they are better than what people give them credit for. They run a 3-4, which could be an issue with the run-heavy Browns team. Their corners are you know what I mean? They play well in some spots. I think they had a strong showing last week. There's a lot of that was Mason Rudolph, but they had a strong showing last week. They move well and tackle well in the run game. I think this is a team that can, if they're motivated, defend the run. They don't always do that, but they can do that. I think their linebackers are awful. I think their linebackers are really bad. I know they got rid of Jamie Collins. They get some young guys out there, but these guys aren't that good. So, it's going to be a tight end heavy game. LOL, Browns are tight end heavy every game. So if you're looking for this week to be the week to start Donovan Peoples-Jones or Rashard Higgins or any of the other Browns wide receivers on your fantasy team, this is not the week. They are not going to get targeted. The Browns are going to attack this linebacking core, much like they did last week, and hopefully have greater success. So, again, I really don't want to sound dismissive because I'm not going into this thinking it's 100% that the Browns are going to win this game, simply because I just don't ever know what to expect out of this team. And at this point in the year, after so many up and down performances, I've just given up on the concept entirely, to be honest with you, of trusting that the Browns are going to come into the game doing what they have to do. So, the Browns could very easily beat themselves and lose this game to Detroit. How could they do that? Well, they could throw interceptions, they could have fumbles, penalties, stall out on offense, keep this a low-scoring game, allow the Lions to keep DeAndre Swift in that running game relevant, and then that's how they could beat themselves, and that's how they could end up in a situation like Pittsburgh did, right? Because that's what Pittsburgh did. The offense was so stagnant in Pittsburgh. I believe they had 6 3-and-outs in a row that they allowed that running game to stay relevant for the Lions, and then eventually the Lions scored enough. And when you only ask the Lions to score 16 points, it's something they can do. If you have to ask the Lions with Jared Goff to score 30, they can't do that. So, it's going to be up to the Browns. Are they going to execute well? Are they going to play good football? If the Browns play average to good football, they should win this game by multiple scores and be done with it. But if they play bad football, this is going to be a close game. This is going to be one of those squeeze them outs, and they may or may not win it. That's the reality, right? They could play a bad game of football and win this game. It's not a guarantee, though. Or they could play a decent game of football and win this game by multiple scores, or a good game of football and win this game by multiple scores. But it's up to them and how they want to come out playing. I had tried real hard this week to find something that could give me a worry that the Lions could come out here, play well, and the Browns play well, and that somehow end up with the Browns losing this game. I don't think that is really what's going to happen. But we'll see. Again, this Browns team's been unpredictable all year. So the ideal that I'm going to guess how they're going to come out and play on any given week, I'm over that idea. But I do think that in all likelihood, in a rational NFL season, the Browns win this game pretty easily. But we'll see what happens with them. The Browns at this point have earned the right to not be trusted. But that's my thoughts on this game. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.